Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, B-Fan Podcast. Welcome to another episode, and as always, thank you for your time. Today, I'm here with
LaTanya Seal.
And tell us your story. What's the little background of Miss LaTanya Seals?
Well, okay, I am not only a wife of 42 years, I am a mother of a son with special needs. Michael, my son, was 2.5 pounds at birth, 53 days in the hospital, and $1,000 a day for him to get out. He's now 40, and he's a abstract artist, and he's been painting for over 27 years. And I am also a front office coordinator at the Graduate Career Services at USC. For almost 24 years.
Okay. So, can we get into I want to get into the art part really quickly. How has art shaped your life before your son? Were you really into art, or was it him that brought the art side out of you?
That's really interesting that you would ask that, because I remember as I want to say, 10 or 11-year-old going to the beauty shop where my mother worked. It was called Neville's House of Glamour. And I remember having a pad there. It was my job to answer the phone and say, "Hello, it's Neville's House of Glamour. It's LaTanya.
Yeah.
How can I help you?" And then I'd have to say, "Darlene, telephone," because, there were no transfer buttons or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, I took a pad and I would literally draw profiles of people, the ladies, while they were in the beauty shop, including their hairdos, and I would take it over to them and say, "Look," and they would be astounded.
Yeah.
And they would go like, "Oh my God, that looks exactly like me."
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, "Oh my God." So I'd always ask my mother, "Why don't you send me to art school?" And as I got older, I realized, you know what? I could have gone myself. It wasn't up to my mother. But I've always loved art. I've always drawn. I've always dabbled in everything. I do gift baskets, gift bags. I've done, gift bags for a marketing professor at USC for probably over a year and a half, 2 years, for all her corporate speakers, things like that. But I enjoy art because I call it really getting rid of the kinks in life. No matter whatever, art is something I think in part of creativity helps us communicate better as people. It helps us get along. It washes away the cobwebs in our life. Many times it's a stress buster when life is overwhelming. And to me, when you're doing art, you're not thinking about yourself, and you're not thinking about your troubles and your challenges, and you're not thinking about all the things that you have to do on your to-do list, and you're not beating yourself up, "Oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that." So I think art is that, really, it's called a balm or a salve. Yeah. Because it cures things. You can't put your finger on exactly, but after you've done something, you look at it and say, "Wow, I'm pretty good."
Yes. Then you want to do it again, and you want to recreate it, and you just keep chasing that feeling.
Yes, it's a good feeling. And it builds your self-esteem.
It does.
Small steps at a time. It really makes a big difference.
And those are like some of the most important things. It's the smaller things, and like just creating for yourself, and then you figure out if other people like it.
Right.
Because a lot of people would get lost in, will other people like it, or is this going to impress other people? But I feel like the more we create for ourselves, the easier it is to find the audience that best suits us.
Absolutely.
And go ahead.
Yeah, no, but Mom used to tell me, your opinion of me is none of my business.
Right.
And, she'd always tell me never to compare myself with other people. And I think when you have a loving mother, somebody that always encourages you to be your best and do your best, no matter what, if it doesn't meet other people's standards, it's okay. Yeah. As long as you're comfortable with it. As long as you're comfortable with yourself. So that's really...
And then I feel like, I just want to know, where does it get hard when it comes to the criticism of art or your art? How should people take on criticism versus constructive criticism?
Well, it's real interesting. Now, my son is an abstract artist, as you can see behind you.
I love that.
It's a lot. It's called Universal Peacemaker. I don't know if you saw a heart at the very top right there. Somebody brought that to my attention a long time ago. But to me, abstracts gives an opportunity for everybody to express themselves. A lot of people don't like abstracts.
Yeah, he said, I could do that. Oh, it's so
exactly.
easy. Then do it.
A child did it. You know what I'm saying?
Then
right?
do it.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
And, my mother used to say to me all the time, nothing beats a failure but a try. So if you need to have that creative spark and at least want to go out there and do something.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, if you're talking about it so much, go do it yourself.
Yeah.
But I think the criticism, that's interesting because the art that I've done before, a lot of I think I don't have a loose hand like my son.
Mm-hmm.
If you see my art, it's real structured.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
and it's just like everything is in place. Like if I did a lady with hair, I mean, every curl would just be so perfect.
Yeah,
you would go like, hey, are there any things out of place? But I don't know. A lot of people have never really criticized my art, so I don't really know how it feels.
Right.
I'll tell you what, though. I tried to sell some art for like as cheap as, don't laugh, $25. Now, the people like the subject matter, but I was going like, if they don't pay $25 for it, my goodness, it must not be, to their standards. But it's okay.
But actually, that reminds me of this quote by this creative designer. His name was Virgil Abloh. And he's the creator or the director of Off-White or something like that. He passed away, though, sadly. But
really? How old was he?
Maybe his 40s, maybe 50s.
Oh, that's pretty young.
But he died from cancer, I believe. But this, I don't know the quote exactly, but it was something like, you could take a can and put it in the street, and it'll be seen as trash. You could take the same can and put it in a museum, and it'll be seen as art. So it's not really so much as what you made. It's really where you put what you created.
Interesting.
So I can take, it's pretty self-explanatory. So that's something that I really like to pay attention to and apply to like all walks of life. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you created, that you watch where you put it, but you as a person, you should watch where you put yourself. Because if you go into environments where people don't really notice your worth, you will feel worthless. Even though you can have a lot of self-esteem, you can have all the confidence in the world, but over time, being chipped away at so much in the wrong environment can really take you down as a person. So that's when you got to get up and move environments. And once you do that, you can really expand on your way of life. Because even being a child in middle school, I had two options at high schools I could have went to. I could have went to public school where all my friends were. It was an all right environment, but it wasn't necessarily an environment that I saw myself growing in. Or I could go to this private school that was all boys. That was new to me, an entirely new challenge, and it was structured in a way that I've never seen life before. So I'd rather take the step that puts me in an environment where I don't know what's going to happen. And I can be comfortable inside that unknowingness.
I love the challenge.
Yeah, I love the challenge because when you start at zero, it's easy to see your progress and it's easy to keep up with. Even in coming all the way to California from Detroit, Michigan.
I applaud you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing.
Being such a small guy from... Detroit isn't small, but when you get to the neighborhoods, it gets even smaller. And so, coming from the projects of Detroit, all the way to Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, downtown LA, it's just so surprising to me that I was able to pick myself up and get myself all the way over here. And I chose this school in particular because it was so vast and it was so different among all walks of life. You can see every race, you can see every gender, you can see every person, every height, every size, everything. For me to throw myself into this fire, it's like, okay, what can I make? What can I do? At that point, it's all up to me on what I want to do. I can create my own person.
Well, I think that's part of success is being flexible. As I said, not being afraid to try things.
Yeah.
And to challenge yourself every day. I think it's something to wake up to every day. Go like, what am I going to have? What's going to happen today? What am I going to be doing?
So what are some things you challenge yourself with?
Well, oh my goodness. Oh, what do I challenge myself with? Well, as an entrepreneur, I used to call it serial entrepreneur, and I stopped calling it that. I'll call it a multiple entrepreneur, because when I was back to that beauty shop with my mother, she'd gone through a divorce, and one of the things that she did was she went downtown LA to a beading store. She began beading complete dresses, and complete tops.
Right.
And women years ago, they used to wear the beaded tops to formal events with the long skirts. And so she did this as a therapy, as I say, after the divorce. So all the beads that were left, I would make earrings of those. And I literally got a pegboard, and she got me some hooks, and they would take that pegboard to the beauty shop again. And she would bring me home like $10 every day. I go, what's this for? And she said, all the earrings sold for $1, and here's your money. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I have a business. But I never really thought, I have a business. I was just thinking I was being creative with her leftover beads.
Yeah.
But so I've done that. I've done Tupperware before.
Okay.
I've done Mary Kay about 3 times.
What's Mary Kay?
Mary Kay is makeup and skincare. That is actually, oh my goodness, it's a 75-year-old company started by a woman that used to sell things, and she never really got the accolades that she wanted to, but she wanted to empower women.
Okay.
And one of the things that I really like about Mary Kay is the fact that when you purchase some Mary Kay, some makeup or skincare, you're actually helping women that have gone through domestic abuse.
Right.
Because that's where they put a lot of their money. So I've done the Mary Kay before, Tupperware. I've done something called Silpada, which was gold jewelry. I sold that. I created a set of greeting cards with my old family photos, and I even do that today. Like I said, I did gift baskets. I've done all kinds of things. So every time, like right now, I did the T-shirt website, which you saw. I don't know if you had a chance to visit my son's website with his art on it.
I'm going to check it out.
Okay, I'll share that with you.
Okay.
Yeah. But challenging myself right now, I'm just trying to run businesses, and I want to really try to get a business together before I retire here from USC. That's my goal.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That sounds like what my mom's trying to do right now. But I want to go back and snatch the piece of accolades and her not being able to accomplish those. Something that I was, I read this quote when I was in, what class was that? I think I was in math class or English class or Chinese class. I don't know what class I was in. But the quote was like, it said something about, oh my God, I'm blanking on it. It was like something to do with being accredited with the work. Like, if you pride yourself on getting the credit for what you've done, you won't get as far as you would if you don't care who gets the credit.
Absolutely.
Something like that.
No, you're right about that.
Can you go in on that?
Well, that's really interesting because, well, I don't know. Faith is a big part of my life, and having a son that was born 2.5 pounds. Most babies are 41 weeks. My son was born 27 weeks, which, 5.5 months. So I really was doing a lot of praying for the most part. But I think that it says never think of yourself any more than you are. That's what really the Bible tells us. And, you're to be walking by faith and not by sight. In other words, you can believe it before you see it, in other words. So to me, I don't know, I would just, like you said, it doesn't matter who gets the credit. But, okay. So when I do a lot of things that I do, I don't say, oh, hey, look at me. It's just like, it's creative. People see it. They enjoy it. And they, just talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad was also an entrepreneur. He was another one. He was, oh my gosh, he was a Baptist minister, for a minute. And then he was also, he managed a cover band. His biggest success was owning a fabric store. And he did that for about 14 years of his life, and he was also a postman as well. Yeah, but so I've never been afraid of having what you call a side hustle or a side gig or whatever, because I saw my parents be very successful in their own businesses. And I always tell people, like you said, a motto or whatever, don't quit your day job until your side gig is making more than your day job.
Yeah.
That's the time to leave. You know?
Okay. And then 2 things.
Sure.
I'm going to try to remember the first thing, but the second thing, since we on the don't quit your day job, damn, it went away. But no, it's, how did I want to structure it? Like, I forgot.
That's okay.
It was
I have other quotes that my mom gave me that I sort of live by, you know?
Okay, let's go into parents.
Okay.
That's the first thing that I want to ask. Okay,
right,
so how important are parents in the household?
Oh my goodness. One of the things that I thought about, my father had been in the Air Force, and then he came, back after that, and he began looking for the jobs and so forth. Now, he did have asthma, so there was always an excuse for not working.
Yeah.
So my mother came from a very strong background. Her father was a minister.
Yeah.
And raised 5 kids. Everybody was successful, and so they all lived by the Bible, the Word. So what happened is, when they divorced, of course, that really shocked me, and I didn't realize it at the time, but as a child, you think it's your fault that they're divorcing, when in fact it's the fact that 2 of them could not get along peaceably, right? So then my mother would literally, after the divorce, she said to me, "Well, honey, it's me, you, and God against the world." And I said, okay. So she said, "Let's hit it." And I really never felt that, oh my God, I cannot survive by not having a father. Oh, what am I going to do? Of course, you're thinking down the road that, a girl does need her father, because you need to see the perspective of a man's side, opinions, and a woman's side. But I certainly feel if you have one good parent, you can succeed in life.
Yeah.
And like I said, encouraging you to live your dreams and to be a success in life, I think you can make it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot about love. My mother hugged and kissed me every day, taught me how to pray, and she said to me, the Lord, everybody learned the Lord's Prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. Everybody learned that one. And every night my mother would tuck me in and kiss me, and she'd say, "I love you." And I said, "I love you." And she'd say, "Pleasant dreams." So I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to have a pleasant dream. Oh God, this is so good. And again, she was a hugger. And I think touch is very important.
Okay.
And I think it breeds, I think if you're comfortable with who you are, you can succeed in life. And everybody has a different, I call it twists and turns of life, because you never know where you're going to be, and who you're going to be influenced by.
Yeah.
So I think if you have one good parent, you can make it. 2 is even better.
Yeah.
But it won't stop you in your walk.
You shouldn't let it define you.
Absolutely, for
because
sure.
I know a lot of people who will get on that tangent and be like, "Oh, my parents split a super long time ago, so that's what has defined my life." And I feel like that's just a bad job on that person. Because, you can point your fingers at society and your parents, but at the end of the day, the only person that makes decisions for you is you.
That's right.
The circumstances around you can influence those situations in a big way, but you are the deciding factor. It's always that one split second between decisions that you get the chance to say yes or no.
Absolutely.
And
every day you have a choice.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
when you wake up every day, it says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." So every day you have to be, whatever you read, because whatever goes in comes out. So it should be something positive. It should be something, and a self-motivator. You don't need anybody. It's interesting, as an only child, I remember my mother had this lady, and she says, "I don't know, I think LaTonya's not going to make it. She's going to be mentally challenged." And my mother said, "Why you say that?" She said, "She's in there talking to herself." And my mother said, "She is not talking to herself. Honey, she is in there playing with her Barbie and her Ken and all her little dolls, and she's got to do all the voices."
She's got an imagination.
Absolutely. And
how do you feel about imagination? How do you feel like it shaped you as a person, how we should use it more often today? Because a lot of people, I feel like, don't have that big of an imagination. They think it's crazy.
No, I think that is what, if you look around you, everything starts with a thought. Look, we always talk about Thomas Edison and the 10,000 times that he failed creating the light bulb with a filament. And he said, "You know what? That's the way I learned, 10,000 new things." So I think if without imagination, nothing would be around us.
Right.
Think about it. I mean, really, where would we be without it? I think, it grows and expands even as you get older. Some of the things I'm surprised at myself with technology, I'll say, you know what, let me just try this and see what happens. And if you make a boo-boo, like my mother said, hey, if you spill a glass of milk, throw that away and get you another glass, but you keep moving.
Yeah.
That's what she said to me about education.
Never
because
cry over spilled
when
milk.
I went to Hamilton, high school, all my friends were getting jobs, and even in high school they had jobs. And I was going like, ooh, I can work here and I can work there. And she said, honey, what college you going to? And I ended up applying and going to San Jose State, and I have a BA in health science, coupled with, it's a dual degree in Afro-American history. I should have been teaching that as well, but I never did. But after that, I got married, like I said, on 81, but my husband and I ran a carpet cleaning and janitorial business. And I was telling somebody today, we were cracking up, but some of our carpet cleaning jobs were on Rodeo Drive. We did Valentino, we did Gucci, Bulgari, we did NCM, Lina Lee, we did Carnegie Deli. This is all carpet cleaning. They said, Oprah's coming in to Gucci tomorrow. We need the carpet clean. And we said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll do it right away.
As long as we can stay in secret, too.
Oh, no. Of course we didn't. I was well back to work by that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a fun ride. But I met my husband because I actually, right down the street, 43rd and Figueroa, there was a lady that was at my church, Mount Moriah, and she asked me one day, she said, LaTanya, could you take me home? And she lived maybe about 20 minutes away from the church.
Yeah.
And I said, sure, why not?
Right.
In the meantime, she tells me, oh, I need you to meet, I have this really nice guy I want you to meet. And I told her, I said, at the time, I said, look, don't give him my phone number if he doesn't know Jesus. Literally, just like that.
I get it.
And so she gave me his number, and we talked on the phone for maybe about 2 weeks. And then after that, he came from Long Beach all the way down to Melrose and, Crescent Heights or something like that. Melrose, something like that. And so I met him, and on the elevator, I said, oh, you must be LaTanya. And he says, I said, you must be Michael. That's how we met.
Yeah.
So, because we had never seen each other before. And so then we dated for 2 months.
Okay.
And after that, we got married. I got married on his birthday in August 29th, so he wouldn't forget his anniversary. But in the meantime, long story short, this woman where she worked was the Hugh Hefner mansion, the Playboy mansion.
What?
And my husband was a bodyguard there.
What?
Yes, and I would always say, well, what cars are you parking? He said, I'm not parking no cars. And I didn't find out what kind of bodyguard he was until he was actually trying to give up the job.
What kind of bodyguard was it?
So he said, oh, honey, I have to go turn in my gun and get my last check. I go, what gun? So he had a gun for the whole 2 months that we were dating. I never knew it.
You didn't know.
It was just like a trip. Oh, my God, he was crazy. So anyway, he was a really nice guy. When we dated, we went to church. I'd make him go to Sunday school with me.
Yeah.
I go, well, let me see how serious he is.
Yeah.
But, it was really kind of funny. But he, too, was an artist. He's another artist. He draws fruit.
Art.
Yeah, he draws fruit and stuff like that. He doesn't really, he used to draw like, female bodies and stuff like that, but he doesn't do that anymore. He's just like, I like fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, we had a really cool thing doing that.
To go back into what you were saying, I loved everything that you were saying, but one thing that struck me most was the importance of reading. Yeah.
Okay, so I believe that, I always tell my son, readers are leaders. Yeah. By far. It's like I'm reading some books that I have, no idea. I'm reading this one book, I don't know, well, I can't remember all the titles of it, but it's about this woman who is a child of a couple that both of them were married, and they were dating, and then here comes the baby. Okay. And once the baby comes, this mother abandons her child, runs away from the relationship, and leaves the father to raise the daughter. Okay. It was amazing. It's amazing. It has nothing, I didn't go through it. Just a book is a book. Yeah, but I'm really into, I really like motivational books like Og Mandino. He wrote one called The World's Greatest Salesman.
Okay.
I've
heard that book.
Have you?
I listened to, sometimes I I wake up like just super early, start playing like random stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Out loud, just so it be seeping into my brain.
I like Jim Rohn. He's another one.
I
Yes.
love that guy.
Do you
I
have
love
you
that
heard
guy.
of Zig Ziglar?
Zig Ziglar. No.
He's another one too. That's all about, a lot of it is, okay, I hate to say it, but network marketing or multi-level.
That's
I like all those
Anytime
things.
you can learn something
Well,
new.
like me and my son, we sell organic coffees, lattes, and teas.
Okay.
But it's all made by Ganadera lucidum, which is a mushroom, a reishi mushroom.
Okay.
It's supposed to be health benefits and things like that. But we pair that with his artwork. And people love it, Yeah, so...
I need to get back into painting.
Yes, you do.
Because I haven't, like, since I've been out here, I don't even know if people know that I know how to paint.
Well, this is interesting because I was talking to another student here.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I can... Anyway, I was talking to a student here. I thought he was you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, excuse me, what's your name? And he
Yeah.
told me. And we had a long conversation. And then guess what he said to me?
What?
Oh, my father knows a guy who owns an art gallery. And I go, oh, really? And I was thinking that you, my son, and one of my other friends can do a triple.
I don't mind.
I would love that.
I would love to do it.
Yes.
That'd just be something I could add on to.
Oh, and then because you don't have any painting outs here, right?
I don't have any paintings.
Well, this is going to be the start of it. I think this is going to be so exciting.
Just let me know,
I can't wait to
make the
introduce
time
you
to
to
be
the
there.
world.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
You. Yeah, because I got to when I got to high school, that's when I really started to. I want to say my junior year of high school. I got back into painting because I was right after COVID.
Okay.
So I got super bored. I got just bored at home, and one day I was like, I need to start painting again. So I just started going in. And people think that you gotta have this old super long thought out process about what you want to make. It's literally just take the paint and put it on the board.
It's nothing
crazy to it, and then you let your thoughts flow.
Exactly.
And one thing I noticed about myself is that I didn't have a set style. So it'd be I paint like this for 2 weeks, and then after that, it just seems like I forgot how to paint like how I was 2 weeks ago. So now I'm on to something new, and it's I'm just going at it and going at it.
And you can always go back to and add to things and add to it. And you'll see something different you haven't seen before.
And then you go back to the paint, you're like, oh, this is my favorite paint. And you take it and you draw over it. That's what you do. You don't love. You take that paint and you draw over it because it teaches you how to detach from your work.
Oh, well, okay. So it's hard for me to detach because my son did a piece. I kid you not. He sold an original.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, about 6 months ago, and the name of it.
What was
the
it?
name of it was called Winning Spirit.
I love that name.
And let me just describe it for you. It was suppose it was black canvas. Watch this, black canvas, and you have lime green and white and what other color? There was one other color in there, lime green and white, like flowers all over it.
Yeah.
But it's called Winning Spirit, and you know what I said? I should have bought it. And when the people bought it, I was like, oh, don't get it. I was happy for it, but I was sad for it, you know, because I was going you need to do this. But let me show you. I did this the other day.
I like that.
I was at an event where all these women, and there were survivors of cancer, men there were too, and we all sat down and everybody painted a bunch of heads together.
That seems so fun.
And it was just really a very good experience, and I was going oh my goodness, these people are pretty amazing. Everybody had a take on their heads and stuff like that, It was I don't know if you can kind of see.
I could see.
Yeah, but I told him, I said, this is our therapy, and I also used to tell my husband, I said, you know what, all these crafts and things I have around the house, it's for a reason. I said, it's cheaper than therapy. You can go to Michael's and get all kind of paints, like you said, and things like that. Yeah, so, but every day I do prayer. I have on 2 prayer lines. At 6 o'clock every morning, my phone rings from Houston, and I have a cousin that chimes in from West Virginia, so we call it the 8 a.m. Prayer Warrior Family Circle, Houston, West Virginia, and California. And today was our 712th day on the line because we were praying for a cousin that had lymphatic cancer. Unfortunately, he went back to work after 82 days, but he passed away of the cancer at 598 days. But we said, you know what? We thought we were praying for him, but in fact, we were praying for ourselves. So our family's getting stronger. So there's 10 people on the line every morning on that one. And then at 7 o'clock, I call into a one that's called the 7 a.m. prayer line. Okay. And actually, it's been going for 10 years.
That's beautiful.
10 years. So people used to laugh at my minister, Pastor James, because he started it, and now the minister said, hey man, how'd you start that? I need that same thing. So it's very strengthening. We give prayer requests, there's testimonies, and the testimonies of others really help to encourage people to just go on, make another day. I'm happy to be alive right now, all the stuff going on in the world. We need to pray.
Yeah,
it strengthens us. It energizes us every day.
And let's see, something you said about the art and how it's like you can see people's take on the world. Art is really like a gateway into seeing behind people's lives, because once you dissect it, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy like, oh, this composition this composition that. You can tell through like the colors, the shapes that people use, the types of pictures people use, the way they paint their faces, the way they draw hair. You can tell how they see life as a whole. And then once you see that, it's easier to understand people.
Absolutely.
And then a lot of people feel like, oh, I don't know how to draw. It's nothing. It's
not a skill. To me, my son used to call it a God-given talent.
It is.
If you just need to put something in your hand and trust it. You see, trust it on that canvas. Yeah. You'll be amazed. I'm going to share some photos with you at some point, but I used to paint online with some friends because I really wanted to do that as well.
Yeah.
And like I said, me and my son, during COVID, we painted over 50 pictures, in combinations. So all in my bathroom, I put all my creations. Yeah. And I literally look at them and go, how did I do that? Yeah. That is really amazing.
Because you zone into it, and you just get lost in the work, like you were saying earlier. And then once you come out of it, you like, who was this person that did this?
Right.
I'm not sure who did this.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, if you really sit down and named and took a piece of paper, and write down all the talents that you have inside of yourself, you would really be amazed at it. Many things I like to do, like I used to make posters, giant posters and things like that, and greeting cards online, and I send brownies with it to people, and they go, how'd you do that? And I go, hey, it's so easy. It's
just start.
Exactly, that's it.
The hardest
Most
part is to
people,
start.
there you go. And I think fear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how I think of it as, instead of starting something new, because that can be so daunting on a person. Oh, I have to start this, and now the anxiety comes and the thoughts flow in. How long am I going to do it? How much of it do I have to do? How much of my time am I putting into it? That's when people start to overthink the work, and they end up thinking themselves out of the entire idea.
Absolutely.
So something I read was, instead of making it, oh, I'm starting something new, just think of everything as a continuation.
Evolution.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A continuation of something that you have already been doing.
Correct. So, for example, my son, he does like mostly 16 by 20s abstracts. So his one time he said to me, well, when he started painting, he literally said to me, get me some tempura paint. Me and my husband had been trying to do tempura fish, and he thought that was it. I said, it's called tempura. And he said, okay, I don't care what, just get me some paint. So he started painting, and like I said, all the different abstracts came. But he said to me one time, get me some white painter hats, right?
Okay.
So I got him some white baseball caps, and he started painting those, and he called those his power caps.
I love it.
Power caps.
Like a thinking cap. This is power caps.
Power caps, yeah. Power caps. So it's amazing. So we were going like, well, what is that? So ironically, we would just like sit and paint a whole bunch of them, right? And then some of his artwork, for example, because he's done over 350, but we literally used to sit down and have naming ceremonies. I'd go, okay, what do you think this looks like? What do you think this looks like? And he would tell me, and we'd write it down,
Yeah.
But his titles are cuckoo. I mean, they would be like, corporate gangsters and stuff like this.
Well, I like stuff like that because it
But the power hats took off, and we were going
hard.
like, and he said, well, if it doesn't work, we won't do it again. But so I think the definition of success is to do something, and if it is successful, do it over and over and over again.
Keep chasing that feeling.
Absolutely.
Keep chasing that feeling, and when it run out, you find a new feeling.
Absolutely. Get off that horse and get on a new one. Totally.
Buy a horse farm and just ride as many horses as you want. Because
Absolutely.
it can be successful in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
And at so many different things. at the same time.
True, and money is not necessarily.
It is.
But I mean, it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's truly necessary, but it shouldn't be the reason why you're in business.
The deciding factor.
Right. Like, I had a conversation with another lady, and we were like, yeah, suppose you don't make any money.
Yeah.
Well, then don't beat yourself up for not doing that.
Yeah.
Again, you're nothing is carved in stone, so stay fluid. Really, that's the way you're going to make it.
We create the rules.
Absolutely. Totally.
We didn't come to Earth and it was like, okay.
Well, here we go. The Bible said what? In the beginning, God created. He created you to be the creator. Yeah. And his ideas were you are unlimited. Yeah. It's unlimited. It's indefinite.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we got here.
Be what you want to be.
So all the laws we got today, we the ones who wrote them down. So that's how you... If we wrote it down, we can erase it.
Absolutely.
Because everything has to do with time.
That's correct.
And everything has to do with timing.
Exactly.
So if you start something today and it doesn't take off today or next week or next month or next year, you may just be so far ahead of the curve that you got something that nobody even thought of yet. And that's when you should stick with it and stay with it and promote it even more, because when it take off, they're going to go back to you and say, yeah, we know all of these is more famous than X, Y, Z, but this is the starting foundation.
Well, you know what? It's interesting. My husband often talks about this. He goes, look at Elon Musk.
Right.
He has come here and created this car, and Ford and Mustang and Chevrolet, those people have been here for years. Mm-hmm. And then I heard somebody say the other day, his whole claim to fame is hearing this. If you want to succeed, be like Elon Musk. He calls it relentless execution. So whatever you do, it's like, you got to be a beast if you believe in it. And this guy stays up all night long. He can't go to sleep. Just like Michael Jackson. He had tons of songs in his head. And,
you just got to get
there
them
you
out.
go.
And just get out. Because the more it stay in,
you're going to blow up. It causes terrible health benefits by not letting it out.
Yeah, even if it's good ideas, even if it's good thoughts, it will eat you alive. And that you will become depressed. You will become anxious because you I don't know what it is.
Well, that's why journaling and writing is so important.
Keep going.
Get it out, right? Exactly. Let it out your hand.
How long have you been journaling?
Oh my goodness, I've been journaling since college. Way before journaling. Yeah, I've been journaling way since college.
What got you into it? What started? Why did it take till college to figure out that journaling was something that you?
Well, when you're in college, a lot of people say, "Oh, I said, I asked one person, "Why did you go to law school?" They go, "It's too much reading. It's too much writing." It's like, well, wait a minute, that's everything,
Yeah.
But I think when you write, you're able to express things that you wouldn't be. Like right now, one of the things that I'm doing recently is I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
And I'm remembering my dreams, and I'm writing them down. And I've done it, don't laugh, it's most recently, but I've done 8. And I really call them shorts because once I write it, I see it playing as a movie and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I said, you know what? I want to dream and just do some shorts. Yeah. Maybe I'll do that.
We way more informative. We way more powerful than we can ever imagine.
Absolutely.
People think it's just supposed to jump out at you, but really you got to put in small steps, and you got to just do the small stuff, just writing stuff down.
Exactly.
And it comes with consistency.
That's correct.
The more consistent you stay,
oh my goodness, you're so right.
The more prevalent whatever you want will start to jump out at you, because the way the universe and God play around with it, they go, all right, you say you want this, but you're only doing it once a week. Okay, you're doing it once a week, but you're doing it once a week on a different day every week. So even if you do it once every Monday, that shows your mind and your body that, okay, we consistent with this. We can do this every single Monday. It don't got to be every day and every night, because I know that can be overwhelming for some people to think about. But as long as you're doing it on the same day, at the same time, your body will build a habit towards it, and it'll be like, okay, we consistent with this, and then it'll start bringing stuff to enhance that.
Exactly.
Enhance that whatever you've been doing.
Exactly.
So you just... The more consistent you stay with stuff, the more it'll jump out at you. And that's when you'll feel way better. And I just finished this book on, it was talking about resistance in the creative process.
Wow.
It's called The War of Art. I woke up at have you read it?
Have you read The Art of War?
Yeah, I've read The War of Art and The Art of War. I woke up at
And now I'm reading with my son all the exploits of Hannibal. and how he used to deal with the Roman army.
Okay.
It's pretty deep.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, I want to share that with you.
Okay.
Yeah, so yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh, let me talk about the War of Art.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so for the War of Art,
yes,
he was basically saying like resistance is something. No, resistance is something that happens when it's basically like easier for you to format if I say like procrastination.
Yes.
The resistance that you have towards doing a certain task grows more and more the more important that task is to you. So the more resistance or procrastination that you feel towards a task, he was basically saying lean more into doing that task and just start it, and it'll roll over and you'll feel way better. Because how it works is, like I was talking about with the consistency, your body is going to challenge you to make sure this is something that you actually want to get into.
Exactly.
And it's not going to waste the time to get into a new venture if you're just going to drop it off within the next month. Because now you've picked it up and wasted a month of your life because you weren't actually committed to it. And I'm not saying that you have to stay committed to something for the rest of your life, but you have to give it deliberate time.
Well, correct. And you should be driven and interested.
Even if you only do it for a month, that should be the most deliberated month of your life. You should be able to look back on the month and say, I don't want to pick this back up, but I did do it so great for so long, for a month.
Well, also what I'll say is focus.
Yeah.
F for follow. O for one, C for course, U until you succeed. So focus. That's what it's all about to me. Absolutely.
You stay focused on that task and you
will succeed.
You will succeed, and you don't have to get the money, the fame, the power, the glory, but success should be something to you that you wake up every morning, you say, okay, if I were to die tomorrow, I'll be okay with what I've
already accomplished. Absolutely. What legacy?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think about that too. What legacy would I like to leave? You know, I'd like to leave that of, that I was caring, that I was loving, and I used to have friends that tell me, "Oh, LaTanya, you're so selfish." As the only child, a lot of attention was brought to me. Yeah. But one of the things he says, our pastor, do something good for somebody every day. I said, well, I'm a mother of a special individual who does not walk. He's in a wheelchair and things like that. So I do something every day, whether I want to or not. And I think caregiving is so important too, because as you age, you want to have some people around you that love you and care about you. Absolutely. So
just be mindful of the people that you keep around you.
Absolutely.
Even when. And it doesn't have to always go right. Because if everything is always going right around you, you leave no room for growth.
Absolutely.
So even if you
I'm so glad God made us different, right? I don't want to be a robot just like you. Why?
That's what I talked about in the episode. I said AI, artificial intelligence, isn't going to be robots running us around and taking our cars or physical things. It's going to be us alienating each other from each other.
Absolutely.
By becoming so shelled off into our own worlds that we forget that there's other people outside of us.
Right. I had a friend here at USC that spoke in one of the Brightingham labs here, and it was a person that talked about AI.
What's the Brightingham lab?
It's a nonprofit. Well, okay, it's like a lecture series.
Okay.
The Jacobson family started a lecture series, and I believe they support it, called the Brightingham Lab here at USC. You can Google it.
Okay.
But his whole take on it, he said what he does is he goes in and he plays with AI as if it's dumb, right? So he'll say, AI, what's 4 plus 4? And then he says, without question, it's 8, right? That's the answer. And then he goes back in and says, my wife, who I love so much, said that 4 plus 4 is 9. And then AI comes back and says, oh yes, if your wife loves you so much, she must be right. He said that's his crossword puzzle every day. He messes with AI. I thought, oh, that's pretty clever.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But, I like AI too. I play with ChatGPT a little bit, to see what happens. But my biggest thing is it's not a fear, but it's just a concern
Yeah.
that AI will go in and destroy a lot of artists because they're using nothing of their own volition to come up with something creative.
There's no passion
Oh,
or a story behind the art.
Nothing.
Yeah, because art is more than just colors on a portrait, on a canvas, on a wall, on the street.
Like you said, there's a story behind it.
There's always a story behind it, and it always follows the person who created the art.
Exactly.
So people aren't paying for stupid colors on the board. They're paying for the story behind the artist.
Exactly.
And that's what strikes people so fancy, and that's what gets people so excited when they think about having an art piece inside their house. They don't buy it because, well, they might buy it because it looks cool, but it feels even better when you know why you bought it.
Exactly.
You know why you spent so much money on the painting. And money is just numbers. It doesn't really matter. So as long as you can obtain what makes you feel good, or what makes you feel okay, or what can help you sleep at night, you should be okay with your purchases.
Exactly.
Now, if you're going out making purchases and you feel bad after you make them,
oh my goodness,
it's time to question those purposes.
What do you think about NFTs? Are you familiar with it? What do you think about those?
I never really understood them, and I don't think they stuck around long enough for me to get a good understanding. I feel like it was one of those things.
Sort of like the crypto thing,
It was like cryptocurrency where it came in and it shot up, and if you hopped on the wave either before or like right in the middle, then you got a good chunk out of it. But once you got to the high, once it got to the peak, and you kind of people start chipping in and stuff, and that's when it started to decline. So
there's no more market for it. What do you think?
I don't know. It might be. It may not be. I'm not well versed in it enough to.
Me neither. I like the old tried and true.
Yeah.
Myself personally. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, yay. Any more questions for me?
I mean, we would just have to do a second episode.
Okay, sounds fine.
Sure, but I had so much fun recording.
Oh, super.
Oh, do you have a quote a day? You dropped a lot of quotes inside.
A quote a day. So, let me see if I had. Let me see. I did have a few. I can't remember now because my husband's trying to get me out here.
Just off the top of your head, just what's the first thing that comes to the top of your head?
Let's see. I'm trying. That's a good one. Comes to the top of my head. Well, I would just say that make every day a good day. You know, there is some bad things in every day, but you can find something good in every day.